Hey everyone, so I know I've done a number of videos on my attack team, but I guess in this video I'm going to focus more on what I see on defense teams. So on this first team, I know that Pete has a turn 2 active skill that heals his teammates, so by dazing him early on, I know I can prevent that. I was also lucky enough to stun him. Now here you see that I'm using James in order to break the Guardian shields along with Cole, but saving Priya. And part of the reason behind that is because Priya has a trait advantage against 3 of the 5 characters, meanwhile James does not. But I still like utilizing James, so right here, by using James's rush on the center toon, if he gets a critical hit, he will hit the 3 adjacent toons that were left. And that makes for easy cleanup for Priya. I charged Priya's rush first because if I needed any control, I know I could rely on her for confuse and impair to align as well as damage. In this next match, I hit the center toon with James first. Again, I dazed Pete. I was able to stun him. And whenever our Guardian shield goes off, it gets a little annoying because it means I have to waste a couple of attacks in order to break those shields to actually attack the team. And now I'm checking active skills. I know that Krista likes using her active skill on turn 2, which I actually enjoy because it means I don't have to worry about her for that turn. I know that Kapoor, though, likes using his active skill on turn 3, but I think I'm going to be able to kill it, and I was, based on the power output of both James and Priya. In this next team, I know that Elle has a turn 1 active skill, and I was not able to prevent it by dazing, so instead I went for the window target, which was Zach, who has crit on his weapon, and I let Elle both heal and pain split with Krista. And I knew she was going to do that based on how much HP Krista had and how much HP the other toons on the team had. Here, there are not a lot of safe targets to choose from. I don't want to choose Donnie because if James gets a critical hit and applies adjacent damage, then Elle can charge her bide. I end up impairing both my Priya and my James. In James's case, this is okay because he has an attack up when impaired mod on him, and that makes me take the risk of actually trying to attack Elle. And as you see, I was decently successful. The bide was released, but it did set up really well for Priya being able to rush and take out both Krista and Elle at the same time. When I next look at this team, I see it's primarily blue with a couple red toons. I know that Kapoor will be kind of annoying because he's very tanky on a team like this. Eric's have an active stun recovery and 100% heal reduction recovery. Regina is able to do an AP gain, and Zeke can recover bleed. So I was lucky that I was able to stun Kapoor early on because he has a lot of HP, so it means I'm able to build my AP on him without him dying, which is very useful because it's a safe target for me to hit and really sets up the other rushes on my team. I'm lucky enough that I have some high stun resist mods on my attack team, which is by design because in the case of Priya and James, their rushes will only kind of be stopped. Otherwise, it's fine if they get impaired on their rush, for instance. Now, this team is kind of aggressive because it does have both Priya and Krista on the defensive team, as well as Julie. Now, there are a lot of safe targets, so it does open up the floor to me for actually being able to attack and apply some damage, gain some AP. This type of defensive team kind of lets me do whatever I want to do because there isn't a command toon, there isn't a way to AP gain fast, and there are a lot of windows on the team. So open targets I can safely attack and not run the risk of being stunned, of meeting absolute defense or something similar. On this defensive team, I see that there is one upgraded weapon and it just does additional trait damage, but it's still a window on the team, so it makes for an easy decision on attacking them in order to gain my AP. Holly went off and crit, and was able to apply a Guardian shield, which as I mentioned before is kind of annoying. As you see in this case, I don't have Diego's rush yet, but I am able to command and get him to use it because he was AP drained the previous turn, I believe. And it still sets up well for my attack team because as you see, one of the lucky things with James is that if he hits an adjacent target that has a safe weapon His collateral 2 will still apply damage to the other target, which is a great way to avoid stun guns as well as absolute defense. The team I'm facing now is quite difficult because there's 4 toons with stun guns, but Holly is an opening for me, which gives me a lot of leeway in my opinion. Now here I'm kind of unlucky. I wasn't able to impair Zach with my Diego, so I was forced to use James, and I received some payback from that, but got lucky off of James's second attack, where he ended up targeting Holly instead, and then it made it for easy pickup, but really that's just lucky RNG, and at the end I got reflect damage mods to kill James anyway. Now this team I want to take special note of, so I slowed it down at the beginning. So there isn't a command toon, which is important because I know that Dr. Stevens will not go off on the first turn. I know that Raven has an active skill of elusive, and if that goes off, then I'm not gaining any AP, which is very problematic. I know that Holly can apply a guardian shield, as well as revive and heal. I know that Mackenzie has an active revive skill, as well as a rush that cleanses all. And Andrea as a shield would prevent me from attacking who I want to attack on the second turn. So my only logical attack is to try and taunt Raven. Because if I taunt Raven, then I'm still able to gain AP on turn 2. And if I were forced to attack Andrea on turn 2, she is an 8% AP weapon, so I would still be able to gain AP in order to rush this type of team. And you see here, I ended up attacking with Priya, one of the Guardian Shields, but using James for damage. And that's just because there's a significant number of yellow toons on this team, so James has the trade advantage. So overall, it makes more sense to use James rather than Priya, even though Priya does more damage to a specific character. In a case like that last team as well, if there were absolute defense weapons, Priya could be stopped, but James could hit an adjacent target. Now, this defensive team has a mix of different things going on. There's a lot of red toons, but they're using Wanderer as a lead, who is neither really an offensive or a defensive lead. There is no AP gain, which helps me. And as you see here, it makes some of my decisions a little easier to make. I attacked Kapoor with Priya in order to bring her HP down. And then by attacking the center toon with James, I was able to kill multiple toons at once just based off the pure amount of damage that I could apply. Here, as we see, I attacked the center toon with James again, and I wasn't paying complete attention. And because of that, I ended up paying by losing James. So now it's more like a recovery match, because I know that I have my hands kind of tied, I have less toons to work with, and I know I should have used Cole at the beginning. So instead of this match being a quick and easy sweep, because of my carelessness, it ended up being 3v1 and eventually 3v nothing, but it should have been an easy 5-0 along with maybe 3-4 turns of attacking. So now moving on, when I see a Rolito lead, I know that there's going to be a Lacerator behind there, probably a Dr. Stevens, and a command toon type of thing. And when I get to the team, it's fairly defensive, but also has some offense because Axel's there. You have Elena, who's a great Lacerator because she also has focus, so it means I can't use Cole's active taunt. And to me, the only logical attack is to try and taunt Axel because of his double attack ability, as well as his headhunter, or beheading, So he doesn't have a trade advantage against Cole, which means that it's a bit safer to use him and his active skill to bring down the attack of Axel, as well as redirect his attack. By using a Rolito lead, there's not a lot of defense behind it, so I can be a little more dangerous with who I decide to attack, and it ends up being a fairly fast raid for me. This next team, there's a lot of different pieces to it. There's double Guardians, which I find interesting because only one Guardian can go off per turn anyway. Here, again, I see mostly red toons, well, some blue toons, of course, too, but Priya has the biggest advantage, and she's able to confuse and impair a line. I got a little lucky there by her choosing to hit Pete. I should have tried to get rid of the Guardian Shield early on, instead of relying on Priya to get rid of it and lose out on one of her very strong attacks. Anyway, I hope this video gave you some insight on how I go about attacking, why I decide to attack a certain toon, and with who. Feel free to critique my rating style as well as give pointers. I would love to hear from you guys in the comment section below. Thanks for watching my video.